The more video games I play, the more movies I watch, the more books I read, the harder it gets as I get older to truly feel something from a story. When you've experienced hundreds of characters and countless plot twists, it becomes rare, really rare, for a game to emotionally pull you in again. But Expedition 33, this game hit me in a way that surprised me. Within 30 minutes, it made me cry. And then I played the game again, and it made me cry even more. And I'm not a person who cries easily. It takes a lot for me to start crying because of a story. And as a gamer in my 30s, that kind of emotional reaction is not something I experience often anymore. If that isn't a sign of a masterpiece in storytelling, I honestly don't know what is. Welcome to Login, League of Games International. Thanks for logging in with me today. Here on this channel, I review games using a 10-category rubric, a scoring system that blends objective quality with my own honest personal experience as a player. This is actually my very first video on YouTube, and I have wanted to review games for a long time, and I've already recorded and made other game reviews in the last couple of weeks, but I wanted my first YouTube video to be a little bit more special. And that is why I decided to review my personal favorite game of the year, Expedition 33 first. Then, let's say in 20 years, when I have 1 billion subscribers, or maybe at least 15, I can look back and say, this masterpiece was my first game review on YouTube. Anyway, let's get back to the review. Today we are talking about Expedition 33, a game that probably doesn't need much introduction at this point. It's the debut project of a tiny independent French studio, San4 Interactive, made up of passionate ex-Ubisoft developers. A game many people assume would never succeed, or would simply be overshadowed by bigger, louder releases. But instead, it's earning universal praise. Players love it, critics love it, and honestly, it deserves every single praise it's getting. At its core, Expedition 33 is a turn-based JRPG, but it comes with a unique twist on the genre. It blends traditional turn-based combat with real-time mechanics like parrying and dodging, which keeps every encounter tense and keeps you on the edge of your seat. It's strategic, responsive, and honestly, it feels fresh in a genre that hasn't seen many big innovations lately. Expedition 33 is also a beautiful game, and the art style is amazing. Some of the best visual direction I've seen in years. Every location feels like a painting. Every animation feels handcrafted, and the world is just unbelievably beautiful. But what truly sets Expedition 33 apart is the story. This is, without exaggeration, the best narrative experience I've had in a very long time. For me, it's the most emotionally impactful game since Mass Effect 2 or the first Telltale games, Walking Dead. Maybe even better than those. And that's saying a lot because Mass Effect 2 is my favorite game of all time. First, let's talk about the story, without spoiling anything, and honestly, if you haven't played Expedition 33 yet, the less you know going in, the better. Earlier, I compared this game to Mass Effect 2, and the comparison isn't just nostalgia. Both games share something rare, a gripping mystery at their core that pulls you forward because you need to know what's really happening. In both stories, there's a massive world-shaping threat, high stakes, huge consequences, but you don't understand the full picture at first. You don't know who to trust, you don't know why things are happening, and that uncertainty is exactly what makes the narrative so addictive. You keep playing because the mystery refuses to let you go. And then there are the characters. Expedition 33 has some of the best written, most likable characters I've seen in years. Or at least since Baldur's Gate 3. They are layered, believable, and incredibly memorable and likable. Not just because of what they do, but because of what they say. Some of the catchphrases in these games are genuinely iconic. Tomorrow comes. We continue. For those who come after. I'm just getting goosebumps just saying those catchphrases. That's how good they are. And the twist. Without spoiling anything, there are moments in this story that are absolutely bonkers, jaw-dropping. The kind of narrative turns that make you stop, sit back, and rethink everything you thought you understood. Next, let's talk about gameplay and controls. Because this is where Expedition 33 really surprised me. At its core, this is a turn-based JRPG, but with a twist that completely changes how the game feels. You can dodge, you can parry, and those mechanics add a real-time layer of tension and skill that keeps every fight engaging. Some players have said the parry and dodge system can make the game too easy if you're really good at timing, but honestly, that wasn't my experience. I thought it worked really well and it was fun, and it got me on the edge of my seat. For me, the challenge came from how I built my party, how I combined abilities, and how I approached strategy. I played on a normal difficulty, planned my builds carefully, and overall felt the balance was exactly where I needed to be. I don't think this game was that difficult, but there's a lot of settings that you can make this game as difficult as you like it to be. And speaking of builds, the Pictos and Lumina systems might be one of the most creative mechanics I've seen in any JRPG. Pictos are little sparks you find while exploring, each giving different buffs or abilities. You can only equip 3 at a time, but the real magic comes from Lumina. Once you've mastered a Picto, you can equip it as Lumina on other characters as well. And the combinations become absolutely wild. A character might mark a target, another might have synergy that deals bonus damage to a marked or burning enemy. Before you know it, you're chaining together abilities that feel incredibly satisfying. There are easily thousands of possible combos depending on your party makeup. I discovered some amazing strategies completely on my own. I didn't want to look up guides until after finishing the game, and it was fun seeing how other players build these absolutely overpowered setups. This whole system makes the party building exciting in a way many turn-based games never achieve. Expedition 33 doesn't have the same narrative choices as some other RPGs like Baldur's Gate 3 that has probably like 17 million different endings. But it's not a game defined by branching story paths. Instead, the real player choice is in how you play, how you build your party, how you combine Lumina and Pictos, and how you design your strategies. The game gives you an incredible amount of freedom to create your own playstyle. And there are a lot of settings you can tweak, especially after you finish the game for the first time. The level and game design are also excellent. Exploring the world is genuinely fun. Every area feels handcrafted. And the pacing of combat, exploration, and story reveals keep the adventure moving. If I had one small criticism, it's that the third act feels a little rushed. And I think that's also something a lot of other players have said as well. Anyway, not enough to hurt the experience for me, but it's worth mentioning. Overall though, the game design supports the story perfectly, and I never felt bored or lost. Let's talk about graphics and performance, because Expedition 33 is one of those games where the art style does a lot of heavy lifting. Visually, this game is stunning. Some of the most imaginative environments I've seen in years. Every zone looks like a dream painted by someone who had way too much creativity and not enough sleep. In the best possible way. The world just pulls you in. and the art direction is easily a 10 out of 10. But graphics and performance are two different things. And here's where the experience changes depending on what hardware you own. When it comes to performance, Expedition 33 runs well. I didn't have any bugs, but it is a demanding game. And one of the major issues is that it doesn't have FSR. So if you have an older AMD graphics card, you might struggle a little bit. I played this first on my 6700 XT. I had to tweak the settings down a little bit and the graphics looked a little bit smudgy. I also played this on my ROG Ally and it was playable. I could play it well, but it didn't look that pretty. I had to turn down the graphics to a bare minimum and the performance wasn't that fantastic, but it is playable if you would like to play it on a handheld, but not something I would recommend. Then on my laptop, which has an NVIDIA 3070 Ti, it played well. Great performance, no problems at all. So it depends. If you have an older AMD hardware, this game might be a little bit demanding and might not look so pretty and run as well. But overall, the performance is good. Just keep in mind it can be a little bit demanding. Next, sound, music, and voice acting. The music in this game is phenomenal. Some of the boss tracks are so epic, they gave me goosebumps just thinking about them again. Overall, the soundtrack and the music is amazing. And the voice acting,
the Sword of Lumiere.
Every character feels alive, charming, funny, emotional, and they have a purpose, meaning. This game also has some of the most iconic and coolest catchphrases in any video game. Tomorrow comes. We continue, for those who come after. Alright, and now it's time to give the final score for Expedition 33. First, story and setting. The story in this game is incredibly engaging. The mystery pulls you in immediately, and the characters are extremely likable, and honestly, this is one of the best stories ever written in a video game. The world feels alive, unique, and immersive, with fantastic pacing and deep, meaningful, thought-provoking themes. There are several emotional highlights that I'll genuinely remember for a long time. So for the story and setting, it's an easy 10 out of 10. Next, gameplay and controls. The gameplay feels extremely satisfying. The controls are responsive. I absolutely love the parry and dodge mechanics, introducing timing-based reactions into a turn-based JRPG. It's such a creative idea and it works beautifully. Combat is fun, deep, and has a huge amount of variety. The gameplay loop stays engaging from start to finish, and it just feels great to play. So the gameplay and controls are also getting a 10 out of 10. The environments are incredibly beautiful and interesting to explore. They're full of secrets and encourage both creativity and discovery. The maps are perfectly balanced, not too linear, not too open, and you never feel lost or overwhelmed. Enemy encounters are fun, never repetitive, and exploration always rewards your curiosity. For level and game design, this is another 10 out of 10. When it comes to a narrative, this game doesn't offer too many options. There is one major choice you have to make and a few smaller ones. So it's not like Baldur's Gate 3 where you have 100 different endings or maybe even more. But that is okay. In terms of gameplay choice, Expedition 33 is incredible. The variety of party builds, skill trees, loadouts, equipment, synergy systems, and different team setups is amazing. There are so many fun ways to combine your abilities, and the replayability is surprisingly strong because of this depth. Narrative choices bring it down just a little, but the gameplay choice brings it right back up. Player choice gets 9 out of 10. Next, graphics and the art style. The visual design of this world is absolutely beautiful. The environments are creative, full of personality, and sometimes just breathtaking. Cutscenes are well animated, the character models are detailed, and the overall art direction is incredibly unique. Now, depending on your hardware, you might notice a bit of lack of sharpness or softness in some areas, which is why I originally debated giving this a 9 out of 10. But the art style itself is so fantastic, so memorable, so well executed that it easily pushes it back to a 10 out of 10. Next, performance and stability. So the game runs smoothly, loading times are great, and I personally didn't encounter any major bugs. However, this is a demanding game. The lack of FSR on older AMD systems does affect performance a little, also on handhelds. I played this on my ROG Ally, and I could play it, but it didn't look pretty. I had to turn all the settings down, and even then the performance wasn't great, but it was playable. So if you're using an Nvidia card or play it on console, you shouldn't have any issues at all. The game runs extremely well on those systems. But because of the small limitations, especially for AMD users like myself, I'm giving performance and stability 8 out of 10. It's still great, but not quite perfect. Next, sound, music, and voice acting. So the soundtrack is fantastic. Environmental sound is excellent, and the voice acting is absolutely top tier. 3 actors from this game were nominated for Game Awards, and for a good reason. They bring these characters to life in a way that elevates the entire experience. An easy 10 out of 10. And then innovation and creativity. Expedition 33 introduces new mechanics that genuinely push the turn-based genre forward. The parry and dodge systems add a level of timing and reaction you almost never see in games like this. The Pictos and Lumina systems are clever, fun to experiment with, and packed with creativity. The storytelling is bold, takes real risk, and those risks pay off in a massive way. The game feels fresh, imaginative, and confident. So for innovation and creativity, it's another 10 out of 10. And then length and value. This game wasn't even full price at launch. And honestly, it easily could have been. I finished it in around 50 hours, but you could play much longer depending on your build experiments and exploration. There's a strong replay value thanks to all the combat depth and party setups. Considering the emotional journey this game offers, this is absolutely worth the price. A full 10 out of 10. Fun and engagement. Maybe the most important category, at least for me. So this game is fun, plain and simple. I constantly wanted to keep playing, the combat is addictive, the story kept pulling me forward, and the characters were so memorable that I genuinely didn't want the adventure to end. It's the kind of game you finish and immediately think, should I start again? So fun and engagement is another 10 out of 10. And that brings our final score to a very high 97 out of 100. Expedition 33 is an outstanding achievement, especially from such a small studio. But who should play this game? Honestly, everyone. Even if you never played a turn-based RPG before, the parry and dodge mechanics help bridge the gap for action-focused players. The world, story, and characters are absolutely worth your time, and this is a game that people will be talking about for years. So if you haven't played Expedition 33 yet, give it a try. So, this was my review of Expedition 33. This was also my first full review on YouTube, while I learned a lot during the editing process and realized what I want to improve. I had a great time making it. If you enjoyed this video, a like would be incredibly helpful for a new channel like mine. Also, consider subscribing so you can stay logged in as well. Thank you for watching, and for now, I am logging out. Bye-bye. You want to say bye? I had to take the hamster with me because it wouldn't stay quiet in his cage.